Apologies, it's the weekend, everybody. So I wanted to do just a quick video to show you a run through some of the spatial analysis tools that are in ArcGIS Online. You're going to be getting a good introduction to these already in the exercise and lab this week, but I just wanted to show a couple quick things around it, let you kind of get started and dive into it a little more easily. So the first thing I'm going to do is just add a layer that is going to be part of the exercise this week. And one of the ones we're going to be using is data related to schools and crashes. And in the details for the exercise, I've got kind of where to find those things and how to get access to it. So after you have your data added to the map or any information you have added, the biggest tip is just to make sure on the left-hand side you have the right layer selected that you want to use. The same goes for changing symbology or adding queries or filters to the data sets. So for my schools or for my crashes, let's select the crashes, and as I go over to the right-hand side, I could change the symbology for how that layer looks. Let me do it based on a field, and let's say I want to do it based on the accident type and hit add. And if we zoom in there, you can see down at the bottom, collision with pedestrian, collision with bicyclist, collision with inline skater. So the data, the symbology is looking at those attributes and just updated to reflect, what that looks like. I'm going to get rid of that. All of that underlying data, as you probably already know, you can see or look at with the table here. So if you click, look at the table, this is where you can then dive in to see how you can filter and fields you could kind of analyze or look at as well. So here are some of those fields, all the information that is inside here. Oh, this weather, that's kind of a neat field, light conditions, road character, number of vehicles, etc. So after you have that data set selected, and I'm going to pick the schools in this case, over on the right-hand side, down near the bottom, there's a little option here that says analysis. You can select analysis, and then there's a wide array of tools that are just built into ArcGIS Online. One of the ones I wanted to show that's kind of cool and relates to what we're going to be doing in ArcGIS Pro is one called Hotspots. So this tool I can search for, find, and now I can open this up and just run it right from ArcGIS Online here. So I'm going to select the schools layer, and I'm just going to say the count of points without using any other information here, and I'm going to just enter in a field there. So all this is doing right now is giving me hotspots for where schools are located. Probably make a lot more sense to run this for output contains invalid characters. Oh, I can't put a dash. I can put an underscore. There we go. Hit run. And then as your tool runs, should only take a minute or two for this one, I can come up to the top here, this history, and see where that tool is running. Another thing that's really cool, you can see here in a minute, after this tool finishes running, this will save all of the parameters and the values that I just ran in this tool, so I can go back and review later if I run this a couple times to compare different results, which I would definitely recommend you do for the exercise, especially the one where you're going to use this data. Run the tools a couple times and go back, change some settings, and see what results kind of make the most sense. So what I mean by that is I just got that result back for that tool, it finished, and here I can click, hit view details, hit open tool, and it will open that up with all those parameters for me. So I'm going to zoom out on the map here. That is not a very exciting result. So here is showing me the hotspots for schools. And the only thing it's telling me is there's a hotspot over here because there's, a couple schools in one location, one vicinity. There's probably 3 or 4 in that one little area there. Yep, okay, so there's 5 schools in that one location, and this is Brockport. So kind of a silly result. So it's telling me, based on the location of the space of schools, that's kind of the hotspot for where things are located. Better one to run it against, and one that you could kind of run against for this data set later, is the hotspots tool on crashes or some other data sets. And the other thing I wanted to show briefly is, let me add a layer from the Living Atlas. And I'm going to add a layer called poverty. This is looking for American Community Survey poverty data. Again, there's thousands of other data sets on here. And after I have that data in the map, let's say I wanted to run an analysis just for Monroe County. So something you can do in this case, again, is if I go back, make sure I have the right layer selected. In this case, I just want the tracks layer. There's a couple data sets kind of tied together here in this group. And I can come over here under Styles, select Filter, add an expression, and rather than that initial FIPS code, let's say I want to use the name of the county to filter the data. And county is, do this drop down, search, and I know Rochester's in Monroe, and there we go, Monroe County. Hit save, and awesome. Filters that whole data set for me. So now if I want to run an analysis, say I want to join these crashes to these census tracts to do a count of how many crashes are taking place in different census tracts. That would be something I could run really easily. And I can come over here to the analysis tools, click the tools up there, and one of the ones it suggests for me is this join features, which would take both of those and kind of tie them together so that I can then summarize that information based on that spatial location. So there's a quick run through the spatial analysis tool set. You're going to be diving a lot more deeply into this in ArcGIS Online and then some of the other exercises in the labs. Take your time with the exercise and play around with the different settings. You're going to be doing the same kind of, having to replicate that workflow and what you do in the lab part of it. And I believe it's activity 3. So good luck, and let me know if you have any issues.